Wouldn't it be nice if we lived in a place where we could wear suits during the summer? I know most of us don't, unfortunately. And that means finding choices, finding things you can wear during the summer that will let you look presentable and decent while still giving you the comfort that you need and not making you sweat. So I've put together a few choices for you here of things that you might be able to wear. Some people insist on wearing a suit during the summer. I don't recommend it. I don't recommend it simply because it's too warm during the day to keep it on and not feel like you're in a sauna. And if that's your thing, great, but it's not my thing. So, if you are intent on wearing a suit during the summer, then I recommend a linen suit, because linen is a very light material, it's very thin, it's breathable, it'll keep you a little cooler than a wool suit during the summer, and that's a good thing. Now, a few pointers here about a linen suit, right? You want to tell your tailor to put as little lining as possible in the suit. And that means that it will crumple because it has no lining. And so the sleeves, you see, have no lining, allowing me to breathe, but at the same time they crumple very easily after just a little wear. It's normal with a linen suit, that's fine. Another thing I would suggest that you tell your tailor to do is to not put the sweat pads here. I know that some tailors think that's a sign of a better suit. Well, you got a little sweat pad, catches the sweat, it doesn't go through the suit, doesn't make you look silly. But the thing about those things is that it's just extra material that's gonna make you sweat when it's warm. And it gets even worse. If you forget that you sweated into the suit and you wear it again, it's gonna smell pretty bad. Because you can have old sweat mixing with new sweat, and it's not a good situation to be in. Other people will be able to smell it, and you're gonna make a fool of yourself. So don't do that, right? No sweat pads, no lining, very little internal lining, except of course for the very inner lining. You need that, and that should keep the suit light and breathable. Now a little word about sweat. Well, let me keep this here for now. I know that most people, for some reason, live with this fear of sweating, and they dread having those sweat spots appear on their clothes, and they think, oh my God, it's a crime against humanity when that happens. But it isn't. I was just checking on the microphone to make sure it's picking up. The thing to remember is that it's normal for us to sweat, right? And there's no need to go to extreme measures not to sweat during the warm season. The thing to do, the very sensible thing to do, is to take an extra article of clothing with you. So say you're going to some meeting, or you're going to a party or something, and you're worried that you're going to sweat on the way over. No big deal. Take some comfortable clothes with you in the car. If you're going to sweat, you're going to sweat. And once you get there, have your suit ready and your fresh shirt ready, and change into something that's just out of the closet and it's completely dry and not sweated on. And so that's the way to prevent that. Pretty much everywhere I go during the summer, even if I'm going to take my kid to the zoo, for example, I'm going to pack an extra shirt or an extra t-shirt or something in the car just to have and to change into in case I get really wet and dirty. So just do that, and don't worry about sweating, right? Okay. Next thing on the list. Some people, for some reason, are gluttons for punishment and prefer to wear a three-piece suit during the summer. I'm just including the vest here to give you an idea that this is an article of clothing that you should not wear during the summer. It's just not a good idea to add an extra layer of clothing that you can sweat into that's going to make you feel miserable during the hot weather. Now, if you absolutely must wear a three-piece suit or a three-piece outfit, like when you're going to a gala, for example, that's fine. Just before you do, make sure that they have air conditioning in there. And I say don't put it on until you actually are at that place and ready to go right in. And make sure it's in the evening, right? I wouldn't ever wear a three-piece suit during the day in the summer. It's asking for punishment. Why would you do that to yourself? Right, about shirts. Shirts, I would say keep them light, keep them thin, and keep them in either whites or off-whites or light colors, so that it's breathable and it doesn't attract the sun. Anything that's of a darker color is going to attract the rays of the sun. It's going to make you feel warmer, and it's going to make you feel miserable as a result. So that's what I would recommend. Wool shirts, not wool. Cotton shirts are great. This is an Egyptian cotton shirt that I've had for a few years, and I love it. It keeps me nice and cool during the summers. And here's another choice. This is also a cotton material, but it's very, very thin. It's incredibly thin and light and airy, and I love wearing this shirt during warm weather because I barely break a sweat in it. So, on to short sleeve shirts. Again, go for lighter colors, go for thinner materials, and I would say go for shirts that you don't tuck in. Here, let me show you what I mean. See, this shirt is not the kind you tuck in. And what that means is that you wear this over your pants, obviously, right? It's not a shirt you tuck in. But when the breeze is blowing, it's going to go right through, and it's going to come right up here where the heat accumulates, and it's going to keep you a little cooler. So it's a great idea, right, to wear these kinds of shirts during the summer. And again, go for something tasteful. That's the point. Something that'll still make you look presentable and decent, even though it's not formal clothing, and you're not sweating, which is the main thing to keep in mind right, during the summer. Polo shirt is also another example of a thing to wear. Polo shirt is great in just about any place during the summer. Just make sure it's something tasteful again. And it's a very light. And go for a breathable, thin material. Like this one, for example, is very thin. I don't know if you can see it billowing as I move it around. Now, the choice of color in this one, for me, was kind of poor. Going for something brown is not a good idea in the summer. But I'll let you pick lighter colors for your own shirts. Last thing, of course, is a t-shirt. And again, go for something tasteful. And I would say here, very important, with both polo shirts and t-shirts, especially with t-shirts though, is don't buy something that's got a huge logo emblazoned on the chest. It just isn't tasteful, and doesn't look right, and it's not to be done, right? You don't do that to yourself. You don't make yourself into a walking billboard unless you're getting paid for it. And in the case of t-shirts where you have these big logos, I don't care how big of a fan you are of that company. What you're doing is you are paying them money, right, to buy the shirt and then advertise them for free. And that makes no sense to me. If you're looking to do that sort of thing, then inquire at their headquarters and see if they'll pay you to wear one of those shirts to advertise them. Because it makes no sense to me to be just walking around. I might as well be carrying billboards on my shoulders like they used to do in the 30s during the Depression. Remember those images from the 30s? I don't know if you've seen them with people with walking around with billboards on their front and on their back with straps hooked onto their shoulders, advertising various places. Yeah, so don't do that to yourself. So those were the choices in terms of summer wear, suggested summer wear. I mean, you make your own choices really, and you get to live with them, make mistakes, and to learn from them, and so on and so forth. Another thing I wanted to mention is shorts, right? Is it okay to wear shorts during the summer? Yes, it's okay. As long as, again, they're tasteful, and I'll let you make your own choices there. If you just go to reputable brands and you look among their short selections, I'm sure you'll find something that's nice to wear. The only thing I would say is make sure that they're cut above the knee. And what I mean by that is here, let me put this on my leg, just for a bit. And you see how it's cut above the knee, right here? It doesn't go below the knee. And that's important because If they're cut below the knee, they'll make you look shorter. They'll make your legs look shorter, and they're going to make you look stockier. They're going to make your calves look smaller, and it just doesn't give anybody really the right proportion. I know those kinds of shorts are in style today. You see athletes wearing them all the time. They go below the knee, and they make them look ridiculous, in my opinion. Again, because it has a shortening effect on the body, and unless you're a really tall person like a basketball player, you really don't need to look shorter. Most people need to look a little taller and a little thinner, and you can do that with clothing. You just have to pick the right kind. So picking shorts that are cut above the knee, and I'll let you decide the length of the cut there. I mean, you can go higher or longer as long as it's above the knee. Those kinds of shorts will make your legs look longer, and depending on their cut, and by their cut I mean their tailoring, they can make your hips look narrow, which is always a good thing for men, right? You want that V taper. You want your back or your shoulders to appear wider than your hips, always, right? You don't want your hips to appear wider than your shoulders. And I see that with some of the other articles of clothing that you can find in stores today. But to each his own, right? If you make mistakes, just you either learn from them or you live with them. So that's my thing on shorts. Of course, you can wear long pants, as I'm doing now. It's perfectly okay. Just make sure that, just know, of course, if the weather is warmer, you're going to be suffering a bit if you don't have shorts on. One last thing. Some believe that it's not okay to roll up the sleeves on a long sleeve shirt during the summer. And while I would normally agree with that, I believe in being practical much more than sticking to some stiff rules for no reason. I want to be practical and I want to be comfortable, especially during the hot weather. And so I would say, if it's really warm, perhaps you're in a situation where it's boating, or where you're on a picnic, or you're biking, or you're doing some work outside and you're in a shirt, and you feel the need to roll up the sleeves, by all means roll them up. Make yourself comfortable, and just make sure you roll them up uniformly on both sides so that you still look presentable. That's pretty much it. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. And this is my daughter. She's the reason I haven't been posting so many videos lately. I've been busy with her, but she's worth it. So, bye.